Greetings, brothers and sisters. My name is Eliyahu, or Elijah in English. Eliyahu in Hebrew means Yahuwah is my Elohim, or my God. For this presentation, one must have an open mind and the spirit of truth, because some people have such strong beliefs that when given alternative views, they refuse to believe it, no matter how much proof is given. They have what is called cognitive dissonance. Now let's see what the Bible warns us. So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Revelation 12:9. So we see that Satan deceives the whole world. Okay? And when the disciples were on the Mount of Olives, they asked the Messiah, "What will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age?" This is what he said. And Yahusha answered and said to them, "Take heed that no one deceives you." Matthew 24:4. Again it says, "Take heed that no one deceives you." Okay? And Saul, who was called Paul, had this to say, "Beware lest anyone cheat you through philosophy and empty deceit, according to the tradition of men, according to the basic principles of the world, and not according to Messiah." Again, he says, beware against empty deceit or deception. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this reason, God will send them strong delusion, that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 9 to 12. So here we have people would rather believe the lie, so God gave them a strong delusion, or what they call cognitive dissonance. As you can see, I use the sacred names because I believe the names of the Father and the Son are sacred. But some people mock us for using their Hebrew names. Well, the Messiah was called by his Hebrew name, Yahusha, when he walked on this earth. Now let's see what the Bible has to say about the sacred names. It reads, "Who has ascended into heaven or descended? Who has gathered the wind in his fists? Who has bound the waters in a garment? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name? If you know." Proverbs 30, verse 4. And then again, "Therefore my people shall know my name. Therefore they shall know that in that day that I am he who speaks. Behold, it is I." Isaiah 52, verse 6. "And those who know your name will put their trust in you, for you, Yahuwah, have not forsaken those who seek you." Psalms 9, verse 10. And there are other verses in the Psalms. Check them out. Now here are the names in Paleo Hebrew, or Ancient Hebrew. The prophets of old wrote in Paleo Hebrew. But when Judah was taken into captivity to Babylon, everything changed, including the Hebrew letters. This created a lot of confusion, or Babel. That's why it's called Babylon. Now let's check out the names. Here on the top we have the name of the Father, written from right to left. Yod, He, Wah, He, pronounced Yahuwah. Here on the bottom we have the name of the Son, Yod, He, Wah, Shin, Ayin, pronounced Yahusha. And the meaning of Yahusha is salvation of Yahuwah. Here in the middle we have Yahuda, or Judah, Yod, He, Wah, Dalet, He. Now, Yahusha is the lion of the tribe of Yehuda. And the meaning of Yehuda is praise Yahuwah. So we have the name of the Father, Yahuwah, the Son, Yahusha, and Yehuda. Praise Yahuwah. I named this presentation, When is the True Sabbath? So why keep the Sabbath? Let's read what Scripture says. And Yahuwah spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, Surely my Sabbaths you shall keep. It is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am Yahuwah, who sanctifies you. Exodus 31, verses 12 and 13. So as you can see, it says, For it is a sign between me and you. Now, again, let's read. Therefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations, as a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. Exodus 31, verses 16 and 17. So again, we see it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. And also we see that it's a perpetual covenant. It means it's continual. So who are the children of Israel? Christians say it is the Jews. Is that true? Then the angel of Yahuwah called to Abraham a second time out of heaven and said, By myself I have sworn, says Yahuwah, because you have done this thing and have not withheld your son, your only son. Blessing I will bless you, and multiplying I will multiply your descendants as the stars of the heaven and as the sand which is on the seashore. And your descendants shall possess the gates of their enemies. Genesis 22, 15 to 17. As you can see, his descendants will be a multitude of people and possess the gate of their enemies. And here we have the blessing of Isaac to Jacob. It reads, May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, that you may be an assembly of peoples, and give you the blessing of Abraham. To you and your descendants with you, that you may inherit the land in which you are a stranger, which God gave to Abraham. Genesis 28, verses 3 and 4. As you can see, Jacob got the blessing of Abraham so that he'll be a multitude of people and possess the gate of their enemies. So why did Abraham get the blessing? He was tested, and Yahuwah said, Because you have done this thing and not withheld your son, your only son. And it is written, He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Matthew 10:37. This is the reason why Abraham got the blessing. And now an end-time prophecy in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37. And again, the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, As for you, son of man, take a stick for yourself and write on it, for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write on it, for Joseph the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. Then join them one to another for yourselves into one stick, and they will become one in your hand. And when the children of your people speak to you, saying, Will you not show us what you mean by these? Say to them, Thus says the Lord God, Surely I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim and the tribes of Israel, his companions, and I will join with it the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they will be one in my hand. So what does this mean? It means that at the end time there will be two kingdoms, kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Joseph, or the tribes, the 10 tribes and the 2 tribes, and they will become one at the end time. And the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim. Well, what is Ephraim? Ephraim must mean that it's a big, powerful nation in the kingdom of Joseph. And the sticks on which you write will be on your hand before their eyes. Then say to them, Thus says the Lord God, Surely I will take the children of Israel from among the nations wherever they have gone, and will gather them from every side and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land on the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king over them all. They shall no longer be 2 nations, nor shall they ever be divided into 2 kingdoms again. They shall not defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will deliver them from all their dwelling places in which they have sinned, and I will cleanse them. They shall be my people, and I will be their God. Ezekiel 37, verses 15 to 23. So it says here that the nations or kingdoms will be gathered back together again in the end time, and one king shall be over them. Now the remaining verses of Ezekiel says that the king will be David, but the Messiah's lineage came from David, so it really means that Yahusha will be the king over them. Now who are those 2 nations or kingdoms? Christianity says that the Jews are Israel. Why? Do they fit the multitude of people described in the blessing of Abraham? The whole house of Israel consists of 2 houses, the house of Judah and the house of Israel. Does not the house of Judah describe the Jewish people? The word Jew is just short for Judah. And does not the house of Israel describe the Christian nations, a multitude of peoples? The blessing of Abraham says that his descendants will be as the stars of the heaven and as the sand of the seashore. Now that's a lot of people. Also, it says that they shall possess the gates of their enemies. What does that mean, possess the gates of their enemies? Well, the European Christian nations went and colonized much of the world, and the nations there worship pagan gods. Therefore, they possessed the gates of their enemies. And who is Ephraim? He was a son of Joseph, who received the blessing of Jacob, as described in the book of Genesis chapter 48. So Ephraim received the blessing, which means that he will be a mighty and powerful nation on the earth. So what Christian nation does this describe today? Could that nation be America? So we have 2 sticks, 2 branches of the same vine, 2 houses, house of Judah and house of Israel, and 2 religions. Old Testament, New Testament, Judeo-Christian. 2 books of the same Bible. So, has Christianity been deceived? Again, Christianity says that the Jews are God's people. Is that true? Well, let's see what the Bible has to say. Then I will sow her for myself in the earth, and I will have mercy on her who had not obtained mercy. Then I will say to those who were not my people, you are my people, and they shall say, you are my God. Hosea 2, verse 23. So are not the Christian nations of today the house of Israel? I believe so. Who did Yahusha come for? Let's read. Then Yahusha went out from there and departed to the region of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came from that region and cried out to him, saying, have mercy on me, O Lord, son of David. My daughter is severely demon-possessed. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and urged him, saying, send her away, for she cries out after us. But he answered and said, I was not sent except to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Matthew 15, verses 21 to 24. So you can see that he was sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Now the rest of the story goes that the Canaanite woman's daughter was healed because of the woman's great faith. Now let's go to the true Sabbath. These are the options of the Sabbaths. 1. Sunset to sunset Sabbath. 2. Sunrise to sunrise Sabbath. 3. Sunrise to sunset Sabbath. 4. Lunar Sabbath. 5. Sunday Sabbath. 6. Every day is the Sabbath. Now which one of these is the true Sabbath? Let's start to eliminate some of these. Lunar Sabbath. These people keep the Sabbath by the moon. The 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th day of each month is the Sabbath. Now the lunar cycle is 29.5 days. That means some months have 30 days. So some months you would have to have back-to-back Sabbaths. That means you would break the covenant of every 7th day is the Sabbath. Conclusion, the lunar Sabbath, not possible. Sunday Sabbath, the problem. The Roman Emperor Constantine, a former sun worshipper, professed conversion to Christianity. Through his subsequent actions suggest that conversion was more of a political move than a genuine heart change. Constantine named himself Bishop of the Catholic Church and enacted the first civil law regarding Sunday observance in AD 321. So, he was a sun worshipper and he changed the Sabbath from the 7th day to the 1st day of the week, which is Sunday. So conclusion, Sunday Sabbath, not possible. Every day is a Sabbath. The problem. And again, what does Yahuwah say about the Sabbath? 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of solemn rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no work on it. It is a Sabbath of Yahuwah in all your dwellings. Leviticus 23, verse 3. So, here we see, it says, you shall do no work on it. So, conclusion, unless you are unemployed, everyday Sabbath is not possible. Sunset to sunset. The reason they believe that the evening is the beginning of the day is because in Genesis it says, so the evening and the morning were the first day, and so on until the 6th day. So if the evening was the beginning of the day, wouldn't the morning be the end of the day? And also, they say that the evening means the night and the morning means the day. No, The evening does not mean the night, and the morning does not mean the day. Sunset to sunset. The problem. When does Yahuwah say is the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur? And Yahuwah spoke to Moses, saying, Also, the 10th day of the 7th month shall be the Day of Atonement. It shall be a holy convocation for you. You shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire to Yahuwah. Leviticus 23, verses 26 and 27. And again, it shall be to you a Sabbath of solemn rest. You shall afflict your souls on the 9th day of the month at evening, from evening to evening. You shall celebrate your Sabbath. Leviticus 23, verse 32. So which day is it? The 9th day or the 10th day of the month? Day of Atonement, solved. So what does Yahuwah say about the Sabbath? It reads, Speak also to the children of Israel, saying, Surely my Sabbaths you shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am Yahuwah, who sanctifies you. Exodus 31, verse 13. Again, it says, Her priests have violated my law and profaned my holy things. They have not distinguished between the holy and the unholy, nor have they made known the difference between the unclean and the clean. And they have hidden their eyes from my Sabbaths, so that I am profaned among them. Ezekiel 22, verse 26. Yet the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They did not walk in my statutes. They despised my judgments, which if a man does, he shall live by them. And they greatly defiled my Sabbaths. Then I said I would pour out my fury on them in the wilderness to consume them. Ezekiel 20, verse 13. And again, I am Yahuwah your God. Walk in my statutes, keep my judgments, and do them. Hallow my Sabbaths, and they will be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am Yahuwah your God. Ezekiel 20, verses 19 to 20. Leviticus 23:32 solved. It says, It shall be to you a Sabbath of solemn rest. You shall afflict your souls on the 9th day of the month at evening. From evening to evening you shall celebrate your Sabbath. Yahuwah says it's your Sabbath, not his. He foreknew that they would keep the wrong Sabbath. That's why it's the Day of Atonement. Conclusion. Sunset to sunset, not possible. Here we have a 2-day graph. Now in the Day of Atonement, in Leviticus 23:27, it says it's on the 10th day of the month, which is right here. And then in verse 32, it says, Your Sabbath will begin in the evening on the 9th day, from evening to evening, which is right here. Now, how does this make any sense? 9th day, evening to evening, and 10th day, evening to evening? Makes no sense at all. Now, if the day begins at sunrise, and Yahuwah says, Your Sabbath will begin on the 9th day at evening, from evening to evening, which is from here to here, then that would be your Sabbath. And that would span 2 days, from the middle of the 9th day to the middle of the 10th day. That is not the Sabbath of Yahuwah. That is your Sabbath. Okay, here's the slam dunk. Now after the Sabbath, as the first day of the week began to dawn, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to see the tomb. Matthew 28:1. Here it tells you, the two Marys came to the tomb on the first day of the week as it began to dawn. That means it was beginning. and the Sabbath was ending, proving that the day begins at sunrise. Now the sunrise to sunset option. The problem. The length of day changes every day, so every Sabbath would have a different duration. Longer Sabbaths in the summer and shorter Sabbaths in the winter. And now we know that the day consists of 4 parts as described in Genesis verse 1, 1 to 5. It consists of the day, the night, the evening, and the morning. Now they believe this option because it says Sabbath day, meaning the daylight only. Conclusion, sunrise to sunset, not possible. Genesis 1. In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said, Let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. He called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. Genesis 1, 1 to 5. So what do we have here? We have the darkness and the light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And he divided the light from the darkness. And he called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So he called them names. So the evening and the morning were the first day. One more thing. As you can see, I put the word abyss in brackets here because in the Hebrew the word deep could also mean the abyss. So for me, it would make more sense if it says the darkness was on the face of the abyss. Here are the 4 parts of the day. 1. Darkness, called night. 2. Light, called day. 3. Evening. 4. Morning. The evening and the morning separate the light from the darkness. It is a transition period from day to night and from night to day. Here we have the cycle of the day, the 4 parts. In the beginning was the darkness and the light. And God called the darkness night, and he called the light day. Then he separated the darkness and the light with the evening and the morning. The day begins right here. And then we have creation right here until here. And then the light starts fading away and the darkness comes in till here. This is the evening, the eve of the night. And then we have the darkness. Nothing happens in the darkness until here. Now, if you're the son of darkness, you would start going into morning. Okay? This is morning. And then you would have the start of another day of creation. So, who is that light which is called day? And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. Genesis 1:4. For it is the God who commanded light to shine out of the darkness, who has shown in our hearts to give the light of knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Yahushua HaMashiach. 2 Corinthians 4 verse 6. Then Yahushua spoke to them again, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. John 8:12. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. John 9:5. I have come as light into the world, that whoever believes in me should not abide in darkness. Light of the world. John 12:46. Now this psalm from David is especially prophetic. It reads, God is Yahuwah, and he has given us light. Bind the sacrifice with cords to the horns of the altar. Psalms 118, verse 27. Who is that light? Yahushua HaMashiach. And he is that sacrificial lamb that takes away the sins of the world. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. This man came as a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, that which gives light to every man coming into this world. John chapter 1, verses 1 to 9. So who is the light of the world? Yahushua HaMashiach. Day of the Lord. For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape. But you, brethren, are not in darkness, so that this day should not overtake you as a thief. You are all sons of light and sons of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. 1 Thessalonians 5, verses 3 to 5. So, brothers and sisters, the day of Yahushua HaMashiach is very near, so make sure you're ready. So, when is the true Sabbath? From Saturday sunrise at full light to Sunday sunrise at full light. And it's a 24-hour period. So the irony is, people believe that the evening is the start of the day. But the truth is, the morning is the end of the day. So why should we keep the Sabbath? If you turn away your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your own pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy day of Yahuwah honorable, and shall honor him, not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasure, nor speaking your own words, and you shall delight yourself in Yahuwah. And I will cause you to ride on the high hills of the earth, and feed you with the heritage of Jacob your father. The mouth of Yahuwah has spoken. Isaiah 58, verses 13, 14. God's promise to the children of Israel. And Moses went up to God, and Yahuwah called him from the mountain, saying, Thus you shall say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings, and brought you to myself. Now therefore, if you indeed obey my voice, and keep my covenant, then you shall be a special treasure to me above all people, for all the earth is mine. You shall be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which you shall speak to the children of Israel. Exodus 19, verses 3 to 6. Now it happened that he went through the grain fields on the Sabbath, and as they went, his disciples began to pluck the heads of grain. And the Pharisees said to them, Look, why do they do what is not lawful on the Sabbath? But he said to them, Have you never read what David did when he was in need and hungry, he and those with him? He went to the house of God in the days of Abiathar the high priest and ate the showbread, which is not lawful to eat except for the priests, and also gave some to those who were with him. And he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Therefore the Son of Man is also the Lord of the Sabbath. Mark 2, verses 23-28. Here we have Yahusha speaking with the Pharisees, telling them, why are you making the Sabbath a burden with all your strict rules and regulations? He told them David did good by feeding his people when they were hungry. And we also know that Yahusha did good on the Sabbath when he healed the sick. And he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Which means, do all your work in 6 days, then relax on the 7th day. Here are my rules on the Sabbath. No customary work such as a regular job, no shopping, no laundry or cleaning such as vacuuming, no idol worship like watching movies and sports. For me, it's okay to drive, to gather with people, to worship and have Bible studies, help people in need, buy things in case of emergencies such as drugs and medicines if they get sick, and it's okay to do light chores such as washing dishes and cleaning up messes if you make one. In regards to cooking, I personally don't cook because I fast on the Sabbath. But what does the Bible say about cooking? And so it was on the 6th day that they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for each one. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. Then he said to them, this is what Yahuwah has said. Tomorrow is a Sabbath rest, a holy Sabbath to Yahuwah. Bake what you will bake today, and boil what you will boil, and lay up for yourselves all that remains, to be kept until morning. Exodus 16, verses 22 and 23. This basically is saying, cook twice as much on the 6th day, Friday, and then on the 7th day, the Sabbath, just heat it up and serve. Sabbath rest of Messiah. Therefore, since a promise remains of entering his rest, let us fear lest any of you seem to have come short of it. For indeed the gospel was preached to us as well as to them, but the word which they heard did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in those who heard it. For we who have believed do enter that rest. As he has said, so I swore in my wrath, they shall not enter my rest, although the works were finished from the foundations of the world. For he has spoken in a certain place of the 7th day in this way, and God rested on the 7th day from all his works. And again in this place, they shall not enter my rest. Since therefore it remains that some must enter it, and those to whom it was first preached did not enter because of disobedience, and he designates a certain day, saying in David, today, after such a long time, as it has been said, today, if you will hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. For if Joshua had given them rest, then he would not afterward have spoken of another day. There remains therefore a rest for the people of God. For he who has entered his rest has himself also ceased from his works as God from his. Hebrews chapter 4, verses 1 to 10. The quotes were taken from Psalms 95, verses 7 to 11. So this is speaking of the Messiah's 1,000-year reign. For 6 days God created the heavens and the earth and rested on the seventh day. This is his rest. And it's for those people who kept his commandments and did his good works as God did his, and they will enter his rest. The 1,000-year reign of the Messiah. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, who shall stand as a banner to the people, for the Gentiles shall seek him, and his resting place shall be glorious. It shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people who are left from Assyria and Egypt, from Pathros and Cush, from Elam and Shinar, from Hamath and the islands of the sea. Basically, that's the whole world. He will set up a banner for the nations, and will assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Also the envy of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not harass Ephraim. Isaiah 11, verses 10 to 13. Now let's break down these two verses here. He will set up a banner for the nations and will assemble the outcasts of Israel. Who do we say Israel was? The 10 tribes of Israel, the Christians. And gather together the dispersed of Judah. Who's the tribe of Judah? The Jews. Also the envy of Ephraim shall depart. Who is Ephraim? Christians. And the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Many countries hate the Jews. They shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, because the Christians think that the Jews are God's people. Okay? They envy them. And Judah shall not harass Ephraim. The Jews say that the Christians are the Gentiles. Okay? And one more thing here. Why does it say here the four corners of the earth? Did he not create the heavens and the earth? What does Yahusha say? If you love me, keep my commandments, including the fourth commandment, his Sabbath. Well, that concludes my first presentation. I hope you didn't get too triggered. I probably said a lot of things you never heard of before. I hope you join me my next presentation. Until then, Baruch haba Bashem Yahuwah. Blessed is the name of Yahuwah. Shalom.